Okay friends, to get started, one of the first things we have to do is remove our battery. We're going to start by removing our negative battery terminal, and then we'll remove our positive battery terminal. There we are. Set that aside. Set that aside as well. Next, we're going to remove our battery hold down nut right down here. I'm just going to grab onto the battery and lift it up and out of here. Okay, now the next thing we have to do is remove our battery tray here. You're going to find a mounting bolt right there, and then one right there. Let's go ahead and remove the pair. Grab onto your tray, carefully lift it up. If you have any corrosion on here, be very careful not to get it in your face, your lungs, or on your clothes. Set this aside. Now we have a nice clear view of our four-wheel drive actuator. The next thing I like to do is spray these two bolts right along here. I'm going to come right along this area where the clip is. Give that a little spray as well. Now that we have this nice and sprayed down, let's continue on to this area right there. Looking at it, you can see that there's two little ears that we're going to have to press in, and then we're going to go ahead and try to pull this out just a little bit. Just going to grab the ears with my long nose pliers, squeeze them in, grab onto this, and give it a nice wiggle. Perfect. Now we're going to continue on to this piece right here. If you were to press on this, it's going to make it so it releases this cable. Grab onto the cable and then draw it away. There we are. All right, now let's get inside the passenger wheel well and remove those two bolts so we can remove this entire assembly. Now we have our wheel off, but you don't necessarily have to remove it. These are going to be the two bolts that you'd want to remove. Now back up top, let's go ahead and remove the assembly. I'm just going to go ahead and give this a nice little wiggle and separate it. At this point, you want to inspect this and make sure it's in good condition. If you see any dry rot or cracks or damage in any way, you're going to need to service this. Ours looks fine, so I'll set it aside. Now over on the bench, there's something that we're going to want to pay attention to. Our three mounting bolts that hold the actuator to the bracket itself. Ours are in very poor condition, and we're going to be replacing them anyways, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut them. Once you have the bolts out, go ahead and separate the two units. Okay, now it's going to be time to install our brand new four-wheel drive actuator. I'm going to go ahead and line up our holes with the holes on the bracket itself. Once we have them lined up, we'll start in all of our bolts, and then we'll start snugging them up. Make sure it's snug. Okay, let's get ready for our install. I'm just going to take this hose. I'll carefully slide it on here. Now you just want to make sure that it's completely seated, and of course it's not going to fall off. At this point, let's continue on by putting this into the vehicle. Line up my bolt holes, and then I'll come inside the wheel well, start them in, and snug them up. Now let's put our cable back in. I'm going to line up the piton with this area here, and we want to make sure that that little beveled area lines up with this clip and locks in. Just going to line it up. Go ahead and push this in. Listen for it to lock. Give this a nice push as well. Now I'm just going to squeeze on this right here, and we can tell that it's definitely locked into the actuator. Now it's going to be time to reinstall our battery tray. Line up both of your bolt holes, start in the bolts, and then snug them up. Now let's put the battery in. Now we're going to put our battery hold down on there. You want to make sure that you have this metal tab on the top. Now let's reconnect our battery terminals. Start with the positive, we'll snug that up, and then we'll move along to the negative. Okay friends, now all you have left to do is go ahead and start up the truck, put it in drive, and try your four-wheel drive.